Hey, what's going on YouTube? In this video I'm just going to show you guys how to install an amplifier in your car. Just to show you guys you can do it yourself and it's not hard at all. So let's do it. Alright, step one. So step one is pretty easy. The only thing you got to do is get your car audio equipment or gear, which is your amplifier, your speakers or subwoofer, and your amplifier wiring kit. Or if you're just going to buy everything separately, like your power wire, your RCAs, your ground, everything, then just do that. And that's step number one. That's all you're gonna need. For step number two, what you're gonna need to do is go to your car, and we'll go from there. Alright, so what you're gonna have to need to do for step number two is pop your hood and disconnect the negative battery terminal. Before you do anything with car audio, you always disconnect your negative battery terminal, because you don't want to blow any fuses, especially the one in your fuse block, because then you're not going to be able to run any power to your amplifiers. And yeah, so step number two, disconnect the negative terminal from your battery. Step number three is just going to be putting the terminals in your power wire, because you need to have to be able to plug it in or put it in the positive battery terminal and have power run through it, and so it doesn't come loose. And it stays there and power keeps going through it. You can solder it and everything. I'll maybe make a video about that. But put the terminals in it, and also the fuse block, I guess. Put the fuse block in your power wire. Step number three. Alright, so once you got your terminals and your fuse block in, you're going to want to run your power wire through a fire hole in your car. Now I'm not going to show you where the fire hole, well, I could tell you it's right behind the battery right here. But I don't want to take everything out just for their purposes, because my firewall is going to be way different from yours. I got lucky, I guess you could say, and it was right behind the battery. So yeah, find the fire hole in your car so you can run your power, like I said, all the way back to your trunk or wherever you're going to place your amplifier. So go on Google or something and look up where the fire hole is in your car, so you can run it through all the way to, like I said, wherever your amplifier is at. So that's step number 4. Step number 5, I guess you're not going to be able to see it, but step number 5 is, again, go on Google and search how to take off your kick panels and how to take off your carpet, and so you can run your wire all the way through your car without being visible. So I'm probably not going to be able to see it through my lighting, but this little bump right here, this is my power wire. And it runs all the way through the car, and you're not even able to see it. So that's step number 5. To find out how to get your wire through your car without being seen, so it looks as sleek as possible. Alright, now step number 6 is running the power wire, which is here, through the rear deck's power wire. If you have a SUV, then you can skip this step, because you can just run it all the way to the back where you're going to place your amplifier and subwoofer or whatever. But if you have a trunk car like me, then you're going to have to find a firewall through the rear deck, or just put the seats down or something, go around it. I don't know how you do it on those. On this particular car, the trunk is sealed, so you have to find the firewall. I couldn't get the rear part of my seat out because it was stuck, I guess. I don't know why. So I ran the power wire right next to the seat, as you can see, and down to the back. I guess it worked. So that's step number 6. Run your power wire to the trunk of your car. Step number 7. You're gonna have to run your remote wire right next to your power wire. So at the same time when you already put your power wire through the firewall. I ran it through your carpet. At the same time, you're going to want to get your remote wire out and place it along right next to your power wire. But instead of going into the firewall, what I did is went across this and into the on the back of the stereo and plugged it in. Now, the remote wire, you're going to have to check your head unit's manual to see what color it is. Mine was blue with white stripes. I don't know if it's the same case in all the head units. And just plug it into that. Put some black tape if you want to, or whatever you want to. That's what I did, black tape, and it's working fine for me. So step number 7, plug in your remote wire and run it through the same way you ran your power wire, all the way to the trunk. Step number 8, like on the remote wire, you're gonna have to take out your head unit and plug in the RCAs on the rear of or on the back of your head unit. Some have RCAs for the front, RCAs for the rear speakers, and for sub. This only has one, which is for the rears and sub. So and since I'm just plugging in a subwoofer in, then I just use that RCA. So put the RCA in it. The only hole I had to work with is back here. Probably can't see it. And ran my RCAs down under the carpet, and it's out right here, as you can see it. And I just ran it under the floor mats from there back. And the same issue happened that I couldn't take off my rear seat, so again it went in through the top. And just step number 8, run your RCAs all the way to the trunk again. Step number 9, finding your ground. Found the ground right there on the bolt for the gas tank. Perfect ground, no road noise or anything. And as you can see, it's a 4 gauge wire because I'm using a distribution block right here. This works for distributing the power between when you're using a big cable to smaller cables for wiring different amps. But that's not part of step number 9. That's just showing you why it's a smaller cable. So that's step number 9, finding your ground. And now that you got everything back here, which is your power cable, your ground back there, RCAs, and your remote, plug them in right where it's said to. You can see the first one is the power, then the ground, then the remote, the RCAs, and I mean, if you don't know how to do that, then look at your manual, I guess. Pretty self-explanatory, and that's how to wire an amp. I mean, you got everything already back here. This is the easy part, just putting the cables where they go. So that's step number 10. Step number 11, wire sub. And right here I'm bridging it so I can get the full 200 watts because this is a 200 watt amplifier. I bridged it so I can get a 200 watts at 4 ohms. I wired the subs at 4 ohms. I'll explain more about wiring your subs later on. But when you bridge your amp, you get the most out of your amp and at a more stable set of ohms, or whatever you call them. And it's 4 ohms, and you know, just plug them in the back of the box and you're ready to go. And that's step number 11. And the final step is step number 12. Connect the negative battery terminal again, and it should be ready to go. If you follow the steps step by step, which is not hard at all, if you followed every step, you will be able to have a perfectly powered amplifier, subwoofer, speakers, whatever you plugged in or wired up. And last thing to do is just test it out if you wired it right.